Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Oh,
Hey, how are you? Are you guys doing well?
Yes, good morning. Very good morning.
Do you see me well? Do you listen to me all right? Are you seeing the presentation? Is everything good?
everything
Yes, indeed.
is perfect. Yes.
You're fine.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. So okay, so we'll give it just a couple of minutes and then we'll start. Okay, just a friendly reminder to please put your names, your name and last name on your account here. That way Adam could give you the certificates afterwards. And again, this would be just a short conversation. Okay, it's not supposed to be a monologue. I'll just try out to show you guys a bit about the course, and if you have any comments or questions or anything, feel free to participate. Feel free to raise your hand, and if I'm not paying attention to the hands, just interrupt me, and that's fine. It's okay. It's supposed to be fun, and we're all friends here, so it's not a problem. Yes, any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Is this question
Sure.
and if so,
So
do you get a copy of the recorded file afterward, or how does it work?
sorry, come again with the first part of your question that I
Yeah,
missed it.
if this is being recorded, are we able to get a copy? Like, are you going to forward the recorded file to us after the session, or how does it?
So it is being recorded, yes, and then everything has to do with sharing you the information, giving you the certificates and all. Please, it's with Adam afterwards. He will contact you directly, and that's why it's important to have your names there, so he will know who to contact. But yeah, it's all being recorded.
Yeah, are we supposed to write our name somewhere? Sorry, I missed the first part.
Yeah, just like you have it there, or to have your
Oh.
name on the contacts, let's say on the attendance, and that way again Adam will know who to write. But that's all.
Okay.
Okay, so good. Let's see. Let's start, and we'll give it a little bit of a preview, let's say, while we get more people in. First of all, let me get it here. There we go. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you and to have you guys listening to us on this presentation. This course comes to you by Gaming Operations Academy, and we thank very much our sponsors for today, which are TX Odds. It's a company that deals with data. Okay, we're going to talk about it, and we'll, let's say, know a bit more of what they do and what we do in the industry in general. Here we go. This is just a taster session. Okay, this is going to be a 1 hour course, and the idea again is to give you a brief introduction on what the full course does. What the full course does, it's understanding all the parts of the sportsbook management. Okay, what is it that we do when it comes to the sportsbook? Again, we deal just with the sportsbook. There are many things that could be done in other verticals, let's say the casino or bingo or poker or whatever, but in this case we are focusing on the sportsbook only. My name is Hugo Llanos. Okay, I am Peruvian, but I had been living in many places. I'm currently based in Uruguay. I started in the industry back in 2007, and that was with a company called Expect. And I was just a bookie. I was compiling odds, and I was doing both for pre-match and live. Since then, I like the industry. I love my job, and I love the industry so much. It's more of a passion to me rather than a job itself. But I specialized a bit more on the operational side of the business. So I do a lot of risk management. I do a lot of customer segmentation. I do work on strategies for retention, acquisition, and reactivation of customers. So that's again, I'm more on the operational side of business. Okay, this is just a little introduction. If again you have any questions, if you have any comments, please feel free to let us know and to share with you. It's important that we have let's say a wider experience here. So it's feel free to just participate. Okay, let's kick off with our session for today. The idea for today it's to look a bit about the sportsbook management. Okay, I'm going to share with you some key points that I personally like to have. We're going to see the structure of the industry. Just I get this question a lot on just by thinking that you get the sportsbook provider, you will get everything, including payment methods, including the player account management, or everything. And it's important for us to see how it's structured and what key elements you need in order to have a sportsbook up and running. We'll talk a bit about the customers. We'll see briefly about the betting theory. Okay, it's nothing let's say too difficult or nothing too technical. Again, it's just for us to have an idea of what we're talking about. Same thing goes with the risk management and the limits. Just gonna briefly see it and see what things we could do about it. Okay, so I like to think on the sportsbook that we're not just dealing with sports, or we're not just dealing with money in general. Okay, it's more entertaining. We're in the entertainment business. And the good thing for us, and I mean good, it's that we deal with the sports, we deal with entertainment in the sports, and it's an industry, or it's an activity that brings a lot of passion to many people. Okay, it doesn't really matter the sport. You could talk about football or soccer, you could talk about basketball or tennis or volleyball. We could even talk about non-sporting events that also get some passion around it. Okay, you will find on a sportsbook, you could easily find bets for, let's say, the Oscars. Okay, or bets for Eurovision or things like that. So it's basically, again, we are around entertaining. Okay, one of the best, or one of the approaches that I like to have regarding the sportsbook management, it's this focus on these three key things. Okay, first of all, knowing your customer. So knowing where to look for your customers. Okay, who is your ideal customer, working on having this customer get the best experience that they could have. And by experience, it's not just let's say the layout that you're going to use on your screen for your site. The experience has to do with the whole thing, even from the customer when he registers, what they do during their time at your site, how easy it's for the customers to deposit or withdraw money, or even just how fun it is, and how easy it is, and how engaging it is for them to just keep on entertaining themselves. Okay, number two, it's the local knowledge. For me, it's very, very important for you to have local knowledge in order for you to offer your product. This means, let's say you're targeting Ecuador. Okay, for instance. Well, if you are targeting Ecuador and people from Ecuador, then you must have content from Ecuador. You must have the Ecuadorian League, let's say in terms of football or soccer. You must have the what Ecuadorians like. So it could be, let's say, your American sports. You must have the payment methods that your audience in Ecuador prefer, okay, or that they have available. So you must know how to target those customers also, and not just about the product, but you must know how to talk to your customers. So this has to do with customer service, for instance. I like using Latin America as an example, because in Latin America you could say that it's just one big country, that we all share the same language. And yes, you do understand each other, but each country, even though we are part of the same culture, let's say, each country has its different customs or traditions. It's a different way that you talk to a Colombian than what you talk to, let's say, an Argentinian. Okay, even if you go to Brazil, it's a totally different language on its own. So it's important to know just where you're going or where you're targeting as a country, let's say, and just understand what is it they like, how they like their product to be presented. Some may like the lottery, let's say, more than others. Some may be more into bingo rather than other verticals. So it's important to do this analysis before we are starting, or before we think about starting our business there. Okay. And number three, it's the flexibility. I think it goes in line with the local knowledge, and it goes in line with just showing the customers what they like and their user experience. I think it's all connected. But this flexibility has to do, or has to deal with, let's say, as an example, if you just copy paste whatever content for the sportsbook you have in Europe, you just copy paste it in let's say in Latin America, people may understand, but not everyone. It's just the most that are the ones that are most used to it. They will know what you talk about, but there may be some markets or some betting options that you may have a few customers that are left out. Okay, so it's good for us as a company, it's good for us as an industry to try to be flexible, to try to explain things in a different way, or try to be even more patient with a few of our customers. Also considering the option of us trying to edit or to change a few things, okay, or to twitch a few things in order for us to make it easier for the customer to understand our product. Okay, so that flexibility, it's important for me. It's all these three things are key when you're targeting, let's say, a new region. If you're going into Europe, for instance, it's everyone knows about the sports betting market. Okay, it's more linked into the culture. It's more, let's say, known. I think it's when you go into other markets, or when you go into other regions, that it's important for you to try to focus on these things. Let's see a bit about the structure. Okay, that I again, as I was telling you, I get asked a lot on people just think that you get a product and that's it, and they don't really realize that there are many participants around it. Okay, first of all, I like to put the operators. The operators are your bookmakers, are your sportsbook, okay, are the ones that will get the exposition, the ones that will work on the marketing and the branding. Okay, we'll see about it a bit in a minute, but it's your operators. Let's say your Bet365, your William Hill, your Caliente, and all of these operators. Okay, you have your providers, and the providers are the ones that are going to support the operators with either content, if we're talking about the data, okay, or the streaming or the odds, your payment methods, even help you gaining or acquiring customers if you're talking with about your affiliates. For example, affiliates, it's a good option for you to try to get customers and to retain customers. They are like an extension of your customer service and of your even your marketing division. So it's important for you to understand. And also the platform itself. The platform, it's usually called a player acquisition management, okay, PAM. and it's where all the information on a customer relies onto. So it's when a customer registers all their names and their personal data and the way you contact them, let's say an email or phone or whatever, social media even sometimes. Some of them even like to put what team they like, so what team they are a fan of, in order for the company to send them marketing regarding that team or whatever. It's important for the company to identify those customers as well and just see, let's say, if they are a VIP, if they are a potential VIP, if they deserve, let's say, some sort of differentiation, or that you need to know who the customer is. So all that information relies on the platform. And then on that platform, it's where you start to link, let's say, your sportsbook provider, your casino providers, your payment methods, and so on. Okay, but that's the, let's say, the link, and then it's all of them just around it. And then on some cases, you have your institutions. If you go to let's say, a regulated market, you will have your domestic regulators, okay, your local regulators. If you are just international, you may have just an international regulator, okay? But these regulators are part of the industry, of course. You do have your integrated institutions, you do have your owner of the sports rights. Okay, it's usually when you get a provider that has, let's say, the data, usually that provider is the one dealing with the sport rights. Okay, or the same thing goes with the streaming. Usually it's that provider dealing with the streaming. It may be the case that you get a streaming provider, and it's sometimes that streaming, depending on the region or the country that you target, or the country that you're going to show that content, sometimes you can show it, sometimes you can't. There are some countries that you can stream a certain league. There are some countries that you just cannot do it. It goes linked to the sports rights. Okay, it depends on whether they can do it or not. But it's usually these providers, the ones that deal with the sport rights altogether. When it comes to the providers and see how you choose one another, the idea it's to have like a little list of things. Let me go first to the operators before we go over them. Just a quick overview of them. The operators, again, are the ones that are working on the marketing, working on the branding. They are the one taking risks, because they are the ones accepting the bets and having to pay out the winning bets. Okay, they are the ones handling the money. In case of regulated markets, it's the operators, the one that have to fulfill the requirements of the regulator. Okay, sometimes it goes in terms of some special reporting. Sometimes it goes in terms of having to reply to a few questions, let's say, or directly from customers to the regulator. So it depends on the regulator itself. Sometimes it goes on offering a certain types of bets or certain type of content, and some you just cannot do it. Again, it depends a lot. And the operators are, of course, the ones that take a percentage of the profit. I like to put it as a percentage and not exact number, because it depends on many things. It depends mostly on the expenses that the operators will have. And these expenses are not just, let's say, operational salaries or payment to providers or office rent or whatever, but it also has to do, and that's where most of the variations are, it also has to do with the marketing itself. How much of that budget the company is spending or investing towards the marketing in order to bring more customers and bring more attention to the product. Okay, so it's important for us to understand that this percentage, it just depends on company to company, and it depends based on the expenses that they will have. Now, the providers. like I told you, there are different types of providers. Okay, we talked a bit about the platform. Okay, and it's where they stored information for customers and where they store information, let's say, for the wallets, or where every other provider just links to. Okay, now how I like to explain this, it's look at this as a pizza. Okay, in order for you to make a pizza, you need some special ingredients or some basic ingredients. You need your dough, you need your tomato sauce, and you need the cheese. And that's it. You have your pizza, and you have a perfectly good pizza. Now, depending on what your customers want, depending on what you would like to have, and depending just on how wide you want your offer to be, you could add things on this pizza. You could add ham, you could add pepperoni, you could add anchovies, you could add anything to it. Okay. With the sportsbook, it's pretty much the same. You need a few basic providers: the platform, the data, and the odds, and that's it. You have your sportsbook. It's perfectly good, up and running and working. It's a functional sportsbook. Okay. Now, if you would like to be a bit more appealing, or you would like to target a different audience, you could add some toppings onto it. You could add some things. You could add your streaming. Okay, that it's the ability or the option to just be able to watch the games live on the screen. Okay, right on the site. You could add your esports, which are the video games. You could add your virtuals, which are it's content or games that are generated by a random number generator, and it's the same functionality as a slot. Virtual games work pretty much the same as a slot. So that means that it's a great tool for you to do that cross marketing between sports and casino just through the slots. Okay, it's a very good tool for, let's say, times when there are not many events. Okay, or they just finished an important match, an important event, and you have, let's say, half an hour or an hour until the next one starts. It's especially good for that time to use the virtuals, for example. And you may have your other providers. That mean it doesn't mean that they are least important. It just means that there are many others that you could use. Of course, your payments, it's important payments in order to have money in and out for the customers. Affiliates, like I told you, they are good in terms of helping you with the branding, helping you being closer to customers, and just helping you. It's like an extension of your customer service. They are a good, let's say, option to work with. There are, of course, CRM or marketing tools that make your life easier in terms of, let's say, doing the customer segmentation or contacting customers in a proper way. If you have a customer that likes NBA, then that's the content you will send as promotions to this customer, him or her. Okay. So it's good to have these tools, or the digitals, the same thing, just to do this advertising on digital media, which is important. And again, it's very easy to do this customer segmentation there. Okay, it's very easy for you to send some specific information to customers that you know based on their likes and based on what they usually follow. If they follow tennis, you will send the tennis stuff forward. Okay, if they enjoy let's say, I don't know, basketball, you will send that over there. If they enjoy not just basketball, but let's say NCAA, okay, then you focus, that's your target, that's what you send over in promotions. Okay, so it's always good to have that available, let's say, and for us to know about it. Now, we skipped a bit about the data and the odds. The data and the odds are one of the most important parts or as providers that you may have, okay, they are the ones that deal with data. They are the ones that deal with all the raw statistics, and you get all the statistics there. If we ourselves were to manage this data, manage these statistics, and let's say for us to select and analyze, it will be a lot of work, and it will be something that you will need a strong team, and strong not just in terms of knowledge, but also in terms of quantity of people. Okay, you will need a very strong team in order to decode this data and statistics. That's why it's usually the ones, the providers sending you the data are the ones that already send you the information that you need, sending you the odds. Okay, so they take all this raw data and they already do the calculations and analyze the probabilities and analyze the situations. Okay, and they give you the odds based on this data that they already have. So it's a very tough and hard work because of the amount of data. Now, how do you choose on a provider, okay, one over another? Because they all have access to data, they all have access to let's say the same events. Okay, if we have a Manchester Champions League Champions League game later, then they all will have it. Okay, it's not something new, it's not something, let's say, private, it's popular information. What I like to focus on, and what I like to explain, it's that it's the extra things, or the things that the product will bring, the ones that you should focus in order to decide from one provider to another. Let me give you an example here in terms of the data and the odds. Okay, and it's from our friends of TX Odds, and it's just what is it that they do. And I like, again, showing you these things in order for you to know how to decide from one provider to another. Usually, what you take into consideration, it's the uptime. Okay, we are 24/7 working. There's always something on the sportsbook. There's always something due to different time zones. There's always something on. Okay, and again, it's not just one sport. We have many sports, so we should try to maintain the most uptime that we could. Okay, we should try to keep it always the site running. There are some operators or some providers that will do it, some that will not. There are some providers that do have, let's say, the structure to have different servers, to have the flexibility and to guarantee this uptime. Some providers that they don't, and it's just part of this analysis before you are deciding on a provider. Okay, on a data provider. That's part of the analysis. How easy they integrate to others. Okay, how easy they could integrate to your platform. Remember that we have the platform where all the information on the customers is storage, and then you have your data providers in, and your odds provider, and your streaming providers, and all. It's just how easy they integrate, how quickly they have the procedures in place. It's very important, the support that you get from them. If you were to have a problem, if you were to have any question at all, okay, on the day-to-day basis, just how easy it's to reach out. Is it by email and they reply within 24 hours, or is it on a chat and you get an answer pretty much instantly within 1 or 2 minutes? It's important for us to know, okay, what level of support we'll get from them. And latency, it's just how related to downtime. Okay, how quickly they are in reacting to, let's say, there's an event starting, how quickly they put it up, how quickly they suspend the odds and then they put them back up again. Okay, so it's important to have these things into consideration when it comes to the product itself. Okay, remember that I was telling you we have different time zones. So it means that there's always something on. and it have different sports. Each sport has different markets, and it has different leagues, let's say, or competitions. Each market has different selections, and each selection has an odd. We'll see a bit about it, about the theory behind it. But it's a lot of content. Again, it's a lot of data. So it's usually best if you just go for, you decide on them. It's just analyzing the options that they give you. Do you hear me well? Is it all good?
Yes, fine now.
Yes, fine now.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So that's basically what the data and the odds provider do, and how we usually try to look into them and what they could give us. Okay, what solutions they could give us. Now, about the regulators, for example, depending whether they are local or international, the regulator always it's a good thing. Okay, it's nothing to fight against. They are always looking to fight the illegal market. They are always trying to protect vulnerable groups. Now, who are these vulnerable groups? It could be, of course, you're underage. Okay, it could be people that are that have some sort of ludopathy, that are some sort of they just can't stop playing. Okay, but it's important for us to acknowledge this. But then it could also be the athletes themselves. Okay, regulators usually give the environment for the industry to grow, and this environment, it's not just based on let's say controlling the sportsbook, okay, but it's also on giving a safe environment on the sport in order for the sportsbook to work on them. So that means working against match fixing, or working against just inside information that you could have. So it's important for us to understand that the regulators are not there just to be a pain for us. Okay, they are there in order for us, all the industry, to work and to grow together. Usually regulators work together with integrity institutions, okay, and they either share information, or some integrity institutions do some workshops on, let's say, a certain league, where the regulator is, if it's a local one, they usually do this kind of associations, and they usually do this kind of work together, which again is good for us. It's good for everyone to understand, and it's especially good for us as a company or as an industry to try to give the customers some trust. Try to stay, keep the customers at ease, that they are in a good industry. They are in an industry that it's not about robbing anybody, okay, and it's not about fixing any matches, and it's not about I don't know, doing anything weird with your money. Okay, we are in an entertainment business, and that's it, and we should keep it as fair as possible. For customers, we don't really mind when a customer wins. It's good for customers to win. We must pay attention on who is winning, okay, and what they are winning on, let's say. But in general, we like when customers win, if they have a knowledge, and that's the interesting part about the sportsbook. If they know about a sport, if they know about how to read a game, they could get a profit from it, and that's great. But again, we just need to make sure that we control, let's say, bonus abusers, or we control any user that might be committing any fraud. Okay, we try to control those types of users, and that's just for the good of the company itself. Okay, another of our providers, these payment gateways, for example, or payment methods. Payment methods are a million, and there are more being created every day. Okay, it's amazing how much or how many of them are around. And it's, you could have, of course, your credit cards or your debit cards or your crypto or just your, I don't know, transfers, or you could have, again, many types of ways to do it. For me, when deciding on a payment method, I like to focus on the cost, how much it will cost me as a company to get customers to deposit or to withdraw through that gaming that payment gateway, okay, or payment method. The service, if I have a problem, will they respond quickly and right away? If a, let's say, a deposit or a withdrawal for a customer gets stuck, will they solve it right away, or will they take, I don't know, up to 15 days to do it, which is, it's just not good. Okay, it's very important to have that level of service. And the security, if a customer is going to trust us with their credit card or their debit card or whatever, we must give the customers the, let's say, the calm that their information is secure. Okay, that their information is going to be there, and if they deposit money, the money is going to be in their account, and it's going to go from their bank account into their account with us on the site, and then from there back to their bank account. Okay, and there's not going to be any loops in the middle. So it's important to have these three things clear, let's say, in order to decide for a payment method. Okay, now let's talk a bit about the betting theory. And again, it's nothing major, it's nothing let's say technical. It's just very quickly and briefly in order for us to be on the same page. There are some basic definitions for us on the sportsbook, okay, on the sports betting industry. Of course, the sport, we all know the sports. The leagues are the competitions within the sports. Events are games that are played within each one of the leagues. Okay, and then you have your markets. The markets, which are the where you bet, let's say, what are you going to bet on, are basically a question. Okay, who is going to win? Is the game going to be over 2.5 or under 2.5, for instance? Okay, or if you apply a handicap, again, who's going to win? Okay, or who's going to score next? It's basically a question. And then you have your selection, which is the answer to that question. Who's going to win? Oh, the home team is going to win. Is the game going to be what's how many goals? Well, it's going to be over 2.5. Okay, who's going to score next? Away team is going to score next. So that's basically it. Okay, again, it's rather easy. It's rather simple. Now, when you put it together on the sportsbook, usually it looks like this. It depends if this is more of the European layout. It depends whether you are on the Asian layout, where it may vary a bit, but it's usually this what you will find. And you will have the information with the markets and the odds in the middle of the screen, and you will have maybe the bet slip, or sometimes the stats or whatever on your right. Okay, that depends on just the likes of the company, but it's usually this layout, and you will get your bet slip on the right, on the top right. Now with these ones, it's, again, you will see your questions. So your 1x2, your totals, your both teams to score, your handicaps. You will see all your questions there. I do have one question for you. You see that on the totals, and let me translate, you see over 0.5 and under 0.5. And then you have totals on goals over 1.5 and under 1.5. And every time you have the 0.5. Do you have any idea why there's a 0.5 there?
I'm sorry, could you explain one more time which one are you looking at? The left hand side or the right hand side?
So you see on the right, on the left, If you
Okay.
go down on the second blue line, there's one that says total.
Okay, okay, all right.
Okay. On totals, that's regarding the amount of goals. Okay. Totals could be on anything. Could be on goals, could be on sets, could be on points, could be on rounds, could be on anything. On cards. Okay. In this case, it's about the goals. It's how many goals it will be scored.
So that's the
it's
average, I think. That's the bid and ask of the goals. Like and that's what we bet on. Basically, that there's a multiplier. So depending upon the amount of bets that you place in, you choose which one you think it'll be in the range of. Is that
okay.
right?
Good. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me explain. That's the amount of goals. Okay. So it's over 0.5 goals and under 0.5 goals. Over 1.5 goals or under 1.5 goals. Of course, the number that you see there, 1.35 or 2.6 or 3.05, the numbers are the odds. If you place a bet of $100 on 1.35, you will get $135. Okay, you multiply by the odd, and then you get your winnings. Now, this 0.5, okay, 0.5, 1.5, 2.5. The 0.5 is there in order for us to always have a winner. There is no such thing as half a goal. Okay. So if you go for over 0.5 and there is one goal, you already won. If you go for under 0.5 and there is no goals, you won. Okay, so the 0.5 is there in order for us to always have a result to that market. In the sportsbook, we always want to resolve bets, and the idea is to resolve bets as quickly as possible in order for us to give their money to customers as quickly as possible, in order for them to keep on betting. Okay, when you have this 0.5, let's say you make sure that you will have a winner and a loser all the time. Okay, any questions so far? Yeah.
What I wanted to ask was also at the same time that multiply the 0.5 difference or whatever the difference that we keep between the buy and sell or the bid and ask is also based on the difference of the commissions that the main company makes, because that's how the company gets their residual how do you call it, income on the bid and ask. Is that true? Because that is how they make most of their money, because there's gonna be, this is like a zero-sum scenario. So somebody has to win, but the more number of bets are placed, they make more commissions out of it, and that's what the strategy is, because somebody's gonna win and somebody's gonna lose. It's like all the trading platforms, it's like everywhere in the same scenario, like everywhere when we've got an online platform like this, that's how they make the money.
Okay, so there are different ways. Okay, let's say in this one, when you come up with the odds, you come up with the odds not at 100%. Okay, so let me try to explain myself. Sorry. This is part of the course, let's say, and that's why I'm trying to make it easier, because it's part of a bigger conversation. But when you know something is going to happen, there's 100% probabilities that it will happen. Okay, the match will come to an end. There's 100% probabilities that it will finish. Okay, either even today, tomorrow, or whenever, but it will finish. Now, whether the home team or the away team wins, then each one has its own probabilities, either 50%, 20%, 10%, but it has some probabilities for one of them to win. When the providers or when the bookmakers come up with the odds, they come up with the odds not at 100%, but they come up with the odds at 100% plus a margin. Usually they come to 108%. So that 8% is the profit margin for the sportsbook. Okay, that's where all the profit relies. It's on that 8%.
Okay,
And
so
it's
basically,
so
so
yeah.
basically what I'm understanding is, as it is a zero sum scenario, so somebody's gonna win, either the how do you call it, the people who have bid, that one of them, like if there's 10 people, maybe somebody's definitely gonna win, so somebody's gonna make a lot of money, but at the same time, the 8% margin is what really is the revenue stream for the sports betting companies.
Yes, and that's in theory. Yes,
Okay.
but then it depends on the match and on the event, of course. I mean,
Yeah, if something
if
crazy
it's
happens, like
if
no
it's
result, yeah, like no result and
you
something
know
like
if
that, and something.
yeah, but even if it's not really crazy, even if so, let's say you have your Brazil playing against Peru, okay, football. The favorite is Brazil and a big
Yeah,
favorite. Most of the people will go and bet towards Brazil. It's not that you will have someone that it's always going to win and someone that it's always going to lose. You are going to have more people betting on Brazil, most likely, so more people are going to win, okay, with
yeah,
Brazil. But now, if Peru managed to get a result, even if it's a draw or a win itself, then you have fewer people winning money there as well. In theory, okay, in theory, yes, it's 8% of whatever is at stake will remain with the company, but that's in theory. When you go into the operational side of it, it's not that direct, you know. You will get that 8% on the long run, but if you take just one match, it could be that one match a company actually lost money, but on the second one they won, and on the third one it went so, and on the fourth one it was actually the one making that 8% profit for all. Okay, so it's in theory, yes, it's 8%, but it doesn't mean that you will get 8% every time.
yeah.
Yes.
I got, yes, I got the I got the. Okay, so basically, even so, this is it's literally like a casino industry, brick and mortar casino, where there's no guaranteed win for the betting companies. Sometimes they might incur a loss. So if there is a heavy, if there's a high roller, let's say, who bets a big amount, and unfortunately that high roller wins, then all the whole month's profit that the betting company make might be used to pay off the high roller. So it's kind of a risky business even for the betting companies.
Well, that's where all the tools come for risk management
Okay.
that we're going to talk about
Okay.
it.
So
But
we
I
have
mean,
risk
yes, there is no
options.
guarantee. I mean, no one has a crystal ball and you will know the outcome of a game. I think it's actually, so let's say casino, it's like a watch. Okay, it's a machine after all. And casino, it's programmed. You configured the machine in order for the machine, out of 100% of the money coming in, it will return 98% of the money to the customers. So the casino actually gives you a smaller margin, between 2 and 4% usually, but it's a steady income. And you will know that the machine will get their profit, and whatever it's configured to give out as prices, it will do. And it will remain your 2 or 4 or 3% margin. Okay, that's the casino. That's how it worked. It's a computer assuring your profit. With the sportsbook, you cannot assure a result because nobody knows who's gonna win the game later on. Okay, but what we could do, and what we actually do in the sportsbook, it's taking care of this, or using tools and using these procedures and risk management and limits and this customer segmentation in order for us to try to have some control and to try to assure that we will have that profit at the end of the month.
Thank you. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much. So let's continue. Now, when it comes to the odds, you usually have them in three different ways, okay? And it depends on where you're targeting. The decimals, usually in Europe, it's you have the decimal, the fractional in the UK, and you have your American odds. They all represent the same, okay? It's not the case that if you go into fractional, you will win more than if you were to bet on the decimals, okay? They all represent the same winning and profits for the customers. It's just the layout. It's just how you see it and how they represent your winnings, what changes, okay? So, for example, in your decimals, let's say you stake $10, just like what we have here in the example. At odds 3.5. So you have your 3.5 times 10, your 35, and that's your winnings. Okay. Now, what's your profit? It's 25, because you got 35 back, but 10 of those 35 was your stake. So you got 25 as profit. Okay. The decimals represent your money in terms of winnings, how much you will get back. Now, the fractional, the same $10 at odds 5.5, okay? 5.5 times 10, it's 25. That's the profit. And in the fractional odds, they give you that profit and they just return you your stake back. So they give it for granted that your stake will be back. So they just focus on showing you the profit, how much you will win with that bet, because yes, of course, you will get your stake back, no worries, if you won. Okay, so again, it's the same odds, just different ways to present it. That's it. Okay, and now the Americans have it in a different way. And the Americans, what they do, it's they based everything on $100 bill. So it depends on how much you need to stake or how much you need to risk in order to win $100, or how much you could win if you were to bet $100. Okay, and what it changes just based on the on whether it's a minus or a plus, and that's it. And they change it that way. Okay, so let's say in the example that we have, odds of plus 585. You stake $100 and you will win $585. That's your profit. Okay, you will get your profit plus your stake. Now, on the odds of minus or negative $760 or 760, sorry, that's the odds. Then you're going to stake 760 in order to win 100. And you're going to get back 860. Okay, your stake plus your winnings. Okay, do you follow? Everything clear?
Yep, very clear. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
No worries. Thank you. Good, thanks. Now, customers. What we do on the sportsbook and on the industry in general, casino, bingo, poker, whatever you like. Yes, we have a good product and it's up and running and it's working and we have all the tools and all good. We do need customers there. And we have these stages, let's say, for the customers, and that's for every business. Your acquisition, okay, when you have your customers that are that they go into the site, depending on how you like to look at it. Personally, I like to look not just at the registrations, not just at the customer that registered with us, but also the customers that deposit with us. Okay, so it's not just the customer that comes and registers and that's it, because then I could have 100. But then out of that 100, how many will actually deposit right away? Okay, that's the one that I like to focus on, and that's the one that I like to to aim at. Let's say when I'm looking for customers and when I'm trying to get customers, it's customers that will actually make a deposit. Now you have your retention, and that's trying to get this customer that registered with you and made a deposit, initial deposit, just try to them to get hooked on us, okay, and try to get them, let's say, to entertain themselves with us for a longer time as possible. And then we have the reactivation, and it's users that for some reason went away, and we are going to try to bring them back. Now, you're not just going to bring back customers just because. There are customers that we rather send them away because there was something dodgy with them, they committed some fraud, or they were just not good for us. It could be, I don't know. Now, customers that left because, I don't know, they had a problem on the functionality, they had a problem with the payment method, okay, and they had a problem with the withdrawal. Then I need to make sure that I fix that problem before I try to get that customer back. Because if I actually bring that customer back and it has the same problem as before, you're just not going to bring them back at all any further. Okay, so we do need to pay attention to the reason why these customers left. If it's just because they come and go between companies, which is common, okay, and it happens and they do it, that's okay, that's fine. We should try to reactivate them and, hey, look, we're fresh, we're doing something new, we have this product or this promo or whatever. But now if there's a reason behind it, we should be the ones knowing who to target, when to target, and how to do it. Now, it's important for this to do the customer segmentation. I'm just putting examples here, okay? Do not, it's not carved in stone, okay? It's not that you should analyze it this way and that's it. I like to do it, and this is just a few of the topics that I like to analyze, okay? But again, feel free to do your own. But I like to take into consideration different things. Most important for me, it's the betting patterns. With a betting pattern, you could know if a customer it's a VIP or a potential VIP, or it's a bad customer, or a customer that is just looking for let's say value odds. Okay, now you could tell a lot just by looking at the betting pattern. But then if you analyze it together with just how many times in a week a customer logs in and places a bet, or what's their preferred channels, if they do it on the laptop or they do it on a mobile, okay, or they go to a shop and do it and place the bet. Now, what's the interaction, how often they go into the site, and how often they place a bet, or how often they go into customer service or whatever, okay, what's their behavior, if they deposit at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month, if they deposit once a month or once a week, or how often they do it, what's their average stake. So there are many things that you could analyze and you could take into consideration when doing this customer segmentation. Very important for us to know what we're looking at and what we want to look for. Okay, what I like to do is taking a few of these things and just analyze them. So for instance, the game frequency, the interaction, and the stake. Okay, and with them just trying to analyze the customer. Maybe it's a customer that goes into the website and he goes on Wednesdays and on Fridays in order to place the bet on live on Saturdays, for instance. Okay, and it's usually an average bet of $10. Now I know next time, if that customer goes and places a bet on a Thursday, okay, a day that they usually do not place any bet, and they bet $100 instead of their usual 10, there's something odd, and there's something weird, and I might as well just look into it. Maybe they just they found a different a tip from someone, I don't know, a tipster or whatever. Maybe if it's a local competition. Maybe they have some inside information that I do not know of, and I should be aware. So I'm looking into it and trying to find it. It's just regular information that you could get from these kind of things. Okay, and this is just 3 of them, but then you could analyze different ones depending again on what you're looking for. Okay, any question? Let's see.
And that's good.
Thank you. In terms of risk management, and it's again, we're just briefly going to talk about it. Don't worry, it's not complicated. We're not going to complicate things here. Risk management, it's not just one thing that you do, okay, and it's not just one task that you do on a certain day at a certain time. The risk management, it's a group of things and a process that you must have in place in order for you to keep an eye and have control over your site. Okay, I like to do the customer segmentation, of course, and have a category and a value for each user. Why? Because it allows me to recognize when a customer is a VIP, when a customer is a potential VIP, when a customer is a bad customer, when it's just a regular user, when it's someone that let's say they have a lot of information on NBA, but whenever they go to casino, they give back whatever they won on NBA. Then that's good. It's good for us as a company, not as a vertical, but as a company is good. And I have to have the bigger picture here. So customer segmentation, it's good for us to analyze the betting patterns and the behavior that these customers have, okay, and the behavior they have on our site. Let's say if I have a bonus campaign, just make sure that I do not have anyone abusing it, or I do not have any weak spots on this campaign. Okay, have control over what types of bets I could combine, what types of bets or products I'm offering. Let's say it happened to me once that because we wanted to offer more things, I was working at a Colombian bookie, and we were offering a very small futsal league, that we realized that we had some like referees and actual players betting against them on our side. Of course, as soon as we realized, we took it out. Okay, we just didn't allow it to happen anymore. And it was good for us that we realized that we came into attention rather quickly. But again, you just must have control over what you're going to offer and what types of bets you're going to allow customers to place, and also apply these limits. That it's the last part of it. The limits are not just there to annoy customers. Okay, the limits are there in order for us as a company to be safe, us as a company to have control over who could win in what. It's not the same amount of limit that I will have on a Champions League match than what I will have on, let's say, I don't know, Rwanda's second division. Okay, for instance, it's not the same exposure that I have on those. So we do have different limits. The limits could go in terms of the league or the customer or the market itself. Okay, it's different ways that you could apply it. Now, who determines these limits? The company itself. It's the company and what's their appetite for the risk, what determines what limit you will use. Okay, and in these terms of the limits, again, what we do is we define, okay, so what's going to be my limit as a company? What am I going to allow customers to bet on? Okay, and how much? I do the risk management for this, okay, and I try to analyze, and I try to have control over this. It's combined with the customer segmentation, so I'm gonna allow VIPs to bet more than I allow just my regular user, for example. And it's important for us to understand that it's not about us not allowing players to win, okay? And I think that's important for us to realize and to know. We like it when customers win. We do not mind, and it's not a bad thing for customers to win. What we must pay attention to is on what they're winning. Okay, If they're winning because the home team won on Champions League, that's fine. It's okay. And they won, I don't know, 10,000 US dollars. That's great. Good for them. Now, it's not the same as them winning that amount, let's say again, on Rwanda's second division because the away team won. Okay. So we must understand that it's with the limits. What we do is we just try to have control over the site and control over our losses. And that's where all the profit that we could get on just on the regular sportsbook and the regular industry, we must control it in order not to just go away just losing on a dodgy thing. Okay. So these limits, again, they do work in different things. They do work either if it's pre-match or live, on the sports, on the leagues, on the markets, if it's single bets or doubles, trebles, or whatever, on the users. I have a question here, sorry. What's one way to know target customers' patterns? Is it usually done by marketing department? Okay. I think it's a mix. I think it's something that should be together, the product with the marketing. Yes, they should both work together up to some point. I mean, marketing wants to advertise things and to have things out there for people to know what they can bet on. But then you must check with the product that you will actually have that thing or that event, let's say, on the site, and it's going to be live. If you're not going to advertise something that it's not going to be there, so you must check with the product. That's in the first place. But then now, when it comes to analyzing the customer's pattern, it's usually done on the product side. It's usually done by the risk management team. But then they should be in constant communication with the marketing side. So usually, and it depends on how the company is established, on how the company works together. But usually, the risk management does the analysis. They put some notes, or they directly do the customer segmentation. So marketing, no. They want to do a promotion or they want to advertise, let's say, football. So they get all customers that like football, that are okay from the risk management side, and they just advertise it to those. We have a big Champions League match, and I want to target customers that had placed a bet on at least one Champions League match before. So I just target it from then and just do it. Depending on the company, again, there are some that have some BI tools, business intelligence, and it's easy for them just to do a query on the data, on the raw data on your website, and just have these things out. But as in my experience, I think it's best if you have someone from the product team talking to someone from the marketing team, and they just work on this together. Okay, not just the advertising, but also building promotions, building bonuses, for instance. Just a quick tip: if you're going to do a promotion on a bonus, let's say, you must know what's your average stake. You're not going to do a bonus with less than the average stake. So whoever stakes, let's say, $20, that's your average stake. You do not need people betting $5 to get the bonus. Okay, you need to improve that average stake. So yeah, you need to talk to your product guys and see, hey, what's our average stake? You know, what's the league that we could promote, or what match we could try to promote, what market we could promote. It's not just advertising the 1x2 and that's it. There are many other markets that may have a better profit margin, that may have a better attention, that, you know, may have better exposure. So I think it's always good to have like a mix between those two. Good. So would you like to know some more what we have in our regular course and the content? It's a lot more than this. This was just in a nutshell. What is it? Again, we saw a bit about the sportsbook, the structure, and so on. What we have in the course, it's a bit about the history, just to get at ease, let's say, and to talk about fun facts about it. Of course, we go into the structure, we go into the data about the relationship between the sports and data a lot more. We know about the different bet types and the tools that we have for the sportsbook. We talk about the marketing and some recommendations that we have for the marketing, same as the customers and customer service. We go into the users, okay? We do talk a bit more in depth on every one of these stages, including the customer segmentation, bonuses, which are very important for us. The bonus, it's not just giving money away, okay? The bonus must have an objective. The bonus must have a target, and we need to measure this target, okay? And in order for us to see if it was a good campaign, a bad campaign, we need to twitch it or not. You know, we need to keep it on the long run or whatever. We do see the odds compiling, which was one of the questions today regarding the margin. Again, it's part of a broader answer. We do see how the odds are compiled, okay? And we do talk about the margin. We do talk about the math behind it and how we come up with these odds. We talk more in depth on the risk management, that it's again, it's not just one thing, it's a group of things that you do in order for you to have control over the website. And it's important also the KPIs and the reporting. And I mean, we could have a good website, we could have a good product, we could have many customers and money coming in and out, but we do need to keep an eye on the reports, and we need to keep an eye on the KPIs just to know how is it that we're going, how is it that we're doing. Are we growing? Are we actually selling less than we did the last month? Do we have more registrations or less registrations, more deposits, less deposits? We do need to keep an eye on those things, okay? So that's it. Again, thank you guys very much for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know now. I'm gonna be here still for a few more minutes, so no worries there. Thank you very much for the time and for your attention. And again, thank you very much to TX Odds for the time and for sponsoring this course.
Thank you so much, Hugo. This was my first time attending this workshop, and it was very informative. I know nothing about sports book in casinos before joining this workshop today, but so I feel like I learned a lot from you. My question is that do you have is there any other workshops that you're planning to offer in the future, or where can I see a list of workshops?
On the Gaming Operations Academy website, you will have the list of workshop with the dates and the content and all.
Okay, I see.
It's just there, gamingoperationsacademy.com, and you'll see it there.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's very good that you guys found it useful. It's
Thank you. Very good. It was good. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Have a good
no
day.
worries. You too, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Um,
you.
just-
Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Hugo,
We are
just
also
No worries.
going on
Thank you.
this in Botswana as well. It's coming soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Hugo, just a quick question about the sports. So what like if I go to casino, there's like different monitors. Usually at the bar, I look it up, and then there's like there's different kinds of sports playing for me to place my bet. So there's like soccer, there's basketball, there's a lot of like so I'm talking about Las Vegas, like there's a lot of monitors. So does casino have to have some kind of like I don't know how casinos select those sports, or do they have to like go through a legal contract with the channel, or is it is it just like so the casinos, they have the right to choose any sports and then for their customers to place the bets? Like, how do they select those channels? Like, does they have to? I know I have no. This might sound like a very basic question, but I'm wondering if, like, do they have to go through some kind of contract, or like, or they're free to use those channels at casino?
So I don't really know exactly the legal part of it in Las Vegas, for instance. I do not really know about it, but what I do know is that if it's a match that I mean, they are just showcasing regular TV. So let's say it's on direct TV or satellite or Sky or whatever. If it's out on regular TV, it's okay. It's public information. Everyone could get access to it, and anyone. Okay.
So the casino doesn't
Now,
have to. So the casino doesn't really have to let them know that we are using your channel or we are using your game for our customer to place their bets on your game. So they're not obligated to let them know about this, right?
so I guess not. But again, I do not know the legal side of it within, let's say like you put example in Las Vegas. I guess not. But it's something that it's a question that goes more towards a lawyer for them, or let's say what's the word for the legal part, for them to check whether it's something that they could do or not. What I know is that if it's a game on just regular TV, it means that the rights for that game are good to be broadcasted. So that's fine. Now, they cannot stream an MLS match in the US, for instance, unless they have the rights. So it just depends on the content. If they are just streaming a regular match that it's on TV, that it's being broadcasted, should be fine. But again, it just depends on the event. It depends on the region, on the country that you're targeting, and just who owns those rights. It happens when they get, for example, the streaming. The streaming, it's just like in TV, but you get it on the website. With the streaming, they do get their rights for the games, and they do get the rights to stream the games. So with the streaming, it's not a problem, and you get it. I'm guessing that with just regular games on regular TV or that are accessed, publicly, it should be fine. But just to be on the safe side, I do recommend that's a question more for the lawyer than the product.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too, Percy. Thank you very much.
Hugo, buen día.
Nos vemos, Luis. Muchas gracias.
Thanks, Hugo.